Okay, today's video we're going to be going over the fact that a certain company has now deemed it that old machines can no longer have a Windows operating system on it. And what's happening is I'm getting given a hell of a lot of older business machines because there's so many of them now that are having to be replaced in schools and businesses that a lot of people are just scrapping them and stuff like that, and they're perfectly good machines. So today we're going to take a look at, I think this is an Optiplex, yep, Optiplex 7010. I've got loads of these been given to me. Well, what we'll do is we will upcycle. We'll take a look at the machine, make sure it's running properly, do a few bits of maintenance on it, and then see what we can do to possibly push it into a very small gaming machine. Maybe for you know, younger kids that are starting out in infants or junior schools. Something that's got the office capabilities on it, you know, and maybe we'll see if we can do a little bit of gaming in it. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is we'll take a look inside this machine. So firstly, I am just going to move my mic out of the way and take a look inside this and see what's actually in here. So lift this tab up, slide that drive back. I'm just going to get it out of the way for the moment because I just want to see what's in this machine. Western Digital Purple. Okay, that's normally a surveillance hard drive. I think it's probably just been chucked in there as a last minute. Let's have a look. So this blue tab, click it down and it allows it to come up through past the power settings. We're going to have to take the SATA out and the power out and squeeze that up. Right, so yeah, so that's a 1 terabyte. So we'll leave that in there. That's pretty good. 4 RAM slots as well, which is nice, and they're only using 1. 2 gigabyte of RAM right there, which is not very good, is it? So let's put that back in. And that's it, really. So we do have another slot at the front in here for SATA. See the white connector there? So we can probably, well, what I will do, definitely will do, is we'll put an SSD in here for the operating system, and we'll try and keep this 1 terabyte hard drive as storage space. It's very low profile on the PCIe slots there. So I will probably put one of these 2 gig NVIDIA Quadros in. They're really, really cheap. It's a little 2 gig card with its own cooling on board. The only thing is with these ones I've got, as you'll notice, this is a full plate, which normally goes in the bigger PC. So I'm going to be cheeky and I'm just going to pop it in, and I'm going to cut down through there because this actually has a clamp anyway for anything that sits in there. So we'll cut this off, tidy the edges so nobody can cut themselves, and pop that in as well as updating this RAM stick. So let me see what RAM sticks I've got. So I've had a little look and all the bits and pieces I've got kicking around, and I have found 4 gigabyte sticks. I don't know if these work yet, so I'll just probably clean them up and pop them in and see how they get on. But they're all same speeds, 12800s. Is that 16? So we'll have a go with those. So we can up the RAM, new GPU, put a solid state drive in here alongside the hard drive as well as storage. And yeah, just do a little bit of maintenance because there's a lot of these machines, they are a bit mucky. I'm not going to start stripping everything out stripping it down and cleaning it out that way, because obviously this is an older machine, so I don't want to disturb it too much. Only if I get any issues with the machine will I tend to tear it down. So yeah, let's put this all back together again. And then we can test to see where we're at with regards to like BIOSes. Like the BIOS may never have been touched on these. I'll put the lid back on anyway. And what we will do is throw some power on this and a keyboard and a mouse and see what we get out of it. This machine only has 2 display ports coming out, so I've got display port to HDMI converter. Okay, I'm just going to enable an overlay so we can see what's happening. HDMI capture, there we go. And we'll give this some mains and see what it does. So a little bit of flicker of life there. I think that's normal for these machines, but oh, there we go. It's trying to come on. Is it going to give us anything? Right, flashing orange. Right, flashing light tends to mean a hardware issue, like the power supply's kicking in, but there's a hardware issue. So possibly I could have disturbed something when we had a look at it. So I'm going to reseat the RAM. What do I put? I'll tell you what, I'm going to put one of the 4 gig sticks in. And see what happens. Right, I'm not going to put the lid on now. I'm going to see how this goes. So we have a white light here now, and the Dell logo. So let's try and get into BIOS. Invalid configuration, press F1 to continue. I think that was probably the wrong one to press. No bootable devices found. So F2 to enter setup. Right. Okay, first thing I have noticed is that this machine is locked down. See the little lock icon down the bottom in the middle? So I will show you how to do that. Let's have a look at the BIOS version. A29, bear me a second. Okay, the BIOS is actually up to date. When I say up to date, I think it was 2018 or 2019, but it's the latest BIOS version available for this machine, so that's good. We don't have to mess around with that too much. What I will show you now is how we unlock here without a password and stuff like that. So what we do have to do is we have to shut the machine down, and there's a jumper that I will show you in there. So let's I'm just going to turn it off with the mains, get rid of the overlay, which is there. Okay, so inside these machines there's a jumper, and I've got a feeling it's under the hard drive. Right, it's actually down in there. See the blue tab? That actually is a jumper that holds the password memory. So we have to pull that off. Let's do a closer look up, I'll show you that. So the little blue tab there is what holds the password. It actually, I think it does say, let me see if I can push that back a little bit. It does sort of say password there. Do not confuse it with the power switch over here. So we will pull this away and keep hold of it, and then we'll power the machine up with that off. And probably what I'll do now as well is there is a Cmos battery 2032 down in there, and I'm going to put a new one in there as well while we've got this lid off. Okay, so let's get the Cmos battery out. Little tab at the back on these. If you just click it backwards, battery will pop up, and then you can just grab it. Old Mitsubishi one there. New battery here. Do the opposite. Click it in so the feet grab. There's two little feet here that grab at the front, and then you can just click it down. Battery done. So I'm going to power it up as it all sits like this, and see if we can get that password to clear. So let me put the HDMI back on, power it up. It should say something. I'm gonna press F2 now to try and get into setup anyway. The hardware jumper is removed to override the system password setting. And there we go. So please connect. So we're in the BIOS now. And what I'm going to do is get rid of that display so you can see me. I'm now going to put this little jumper back on while it's powered up. Back on the password. There we go. HDMI back on. So now you can see there's no lock option. We can load defaults. I would recommend loading defaults. And we could probably set a system time here. Is there a system info anywhere? Date and time, there we go. So 2018. So 25. Today is the 15th of September. And we are in the afternoon. So 04:51 PM. What else are we going to require? What I'm also going to do is show you a very small program called Flyby11. It's being created by the community, and basically what it helps out with is getting past the needed certificates for the hardware that you have. So I'm going to put Windows 10 on because this had Windows 10 on it already. So there should be a license in there. And then we'll use Flyby11 with a Windows 11 ISO, which is downloaded from the Microsoft website. and then it should be able to push through and push the operating system up to a Windows 11 and not give us any complaints, hopefully. Also, secure boot needs to be enabled. I think these complain. Ah, there we go. Secure boot. Advanced boot options. There we go. We don't need the legacy ROMs on anymore for Windows 10 and 11. So that's pretty much it. We've enabled secure boot. We've changed the battery. We've deleted the password off of the motherboard. Now all I'm going to do is a very small maintenance of the machine and get that graphics card in there. Right, that's all cleaned out now. So what I'm going to do now is I've got a very small, I think it's 120 gig SSD, little cheap integral thing that I've had kicking around. These are not expensive at all either. I have had a look at the frame for the hard drive and everything. Obviously the DVD reader sits on the top here, but there doesn't seem to be any place to pop in another drive anywhere. So I'm gonna have to pop that down in there and then sit the drive on top of it. I have tested this. It does sit in there perfectly. It's just a little bit awkward when you're trying to connect the power, and I do have to add in a SATA cable. So I will squeeze that in there now. Trying not to catch this cable on the frame. It is very tight in here, so there we go. So there's that SSD underneath, connected via SATA over to here. All the RAM sticks are in. Now I've just got to try and finesse this into the hard drive. There you go, not too bad. It's not caught or anything. So there's a SATA kicking around for that one. There's that. Press that down in there. Get that over. Suppose I better put the front back on. Ah, the power of video editing. Okay. That didn't want to stay on. Look at the size of these SATA cables. What's that? It's like 6 man-inches right there. God, only just reaches. She said. Okay. Whew. Now, onto getting the PCIe card into there. And slot 1, luckily enough, the fan sits on this side, so slot 1 is there. So let's take that one out. That one can stay there. Right, that's where it will sit. I have to put a mark there because this is where I'm going to have to cut this. I do sometimes score along there and fold it over, but in this one there is no room because this little pin here clamps down on top of it, so there's no real need to do that. So I'll just mark that there. We just need to cut across there. It actually isn't or doesn't need cutting there. It's more over here where it needs cutting, because this also is too large, so that needs cutting down as well from there. So I will cut this off, then mark it again, and then cut that one correctly and get that in this machine. Right, there's the lip taken off, so we should be able to slot that now down in through. We want it to seat nicely down in. There we go. Where's that going to sit? Can't quite see where it's going to sit, so I'm going to sit it in this one temporarily and make sure the pins sit down correctly into the socket. Yeah, that looks absolutely fine. The cut is okay actually, the marking is okay. I thought it was too low, but it's not, it's fine. So I will cut that just across the top there so it leaves a little, sorry, I will cut it just across the top there just so it leaves a little bit of meat between there. Right, there's the back cut now. So I'm just going to put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on the pins just to clean them up, and probably clean off that permanent marker that's on there, which isn't coming off, and that permanent marker which is staying there. That's fine, it's all fine. So there we go, that's in there. Put one of these back in. Now that flips over, holds it in position. And as you can see, there's a display port there and a DVI port if you need to do that. So what we're going to do is unplug DVI from there, put it into the new GPU, and power this up. Also in the meantime, I'm going to be confident and go ahead and make the bad mistake of putting the lid back on. Okay, so we're getting further on the installation, so let's choose the United Kingdom because that's where I am. Install now. So this was a Windows 10 Pro, and next I accept everything that you do to me with Microsoft. Let's go custom install. So now we've got the 1 terabyte that's in there is unallocated. So I don't know what that machine, what it was doing in there like that. But that's been deleted, so that's fine. And this here is our SSD. It looks like it already has Windows on it. But let's remove everything and install fresh. There we go. So now we choose drive 1, click next, and it will install Windows 10. Right, okay, so now the system has installed. in doing that, I did find an issue with my silly little USB 4K converter. I've now had to plug it directly into the back of my PC rather than using my USB 3 panel, you know, multi-panel type thing. So I think I'll have to get another one of those. But PC's up and running. So let's have a quick look at system devices. Let's get maybe later with this. You have to bear with me because the graphics are quite small. So let's go to disk management, and it should shut. There we go. So there's that 1 terabyte drive. What we'll do is we'll mount that. So new simple volume. Next. Always perform the following. We will name it storage. And just perform a quick format. So let's say yes to that. There we go. So there's autoplay. Right. So now we don't want to do anything more inside of Windows 10. Let's go to this PC. So there's the C drive, there's the DVD drive, and there's the storage. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to copy over the Flyby11. Let me get rid of that. We want to copy over the Flyby11 files and the Windows 11 ISO file that's on there. So let's go into that. Every time I try and use the USB to do the update and everything, it gets partial through the way. I'm assuming Windows 11 shuts down the USB ports to do the installation. So I'm copying across the Windows 11 ISO, and I'll copy across Flyby11. Copy here. And we'll run it all from the desktop. I'll let that do its thing. Right, this file's copied over. I should have ejected that, but hey. Right, so we should be able to extract that here, shall we? Now, what am I doing? Right. Can I not drag and say extract here? Okay. Flyby11. I do prefer WinRAR. That's probably because I'm old school and I'm used to it. But let's move them all over into there. Probably could have just dragged and dropped. So this is unzipped, so we could probably just sack that one off. So now, this is Flyby11. This Windows file here is the latest Windows 11 ISO. Flyby11 does let you download automatically from them, but I still prefer to have it all local on this machine while we're doing it. So let's run Flyby11 so I can show you. Yes, it will complain about that. So let's just say run. There's the old Word clip there. So Windows 10 support ends in blah blah blah. So the upgrade probability, I've had this very low before on like a laptop and it still let me install it, so let's just do that. Drag and drop the Windows 11 here, or we can select from my computer, so let's do that. It's on the desktop. There's the ISO. Enable advanced upgrade. No, let's just do that. Let's say yes to that. Windows 11 installation. Just going to say OK to that. Right. Install Windows, let's say next to that. Sorry, bear with me, it's very difficult for me to read this because it's quite small on my screen. Make sure nothing else has popped up. There we go. Right, so blah 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 blah. I accept. Keep nothing. There's nothing on there anyway. Please wait. Right, I've not plugged it into the internet yet, and there is a reason for that, because Windows 11 tries to force you to have a Microsoft account. I will also show you how to get around that as well, so we'll let this do its thing, and when it changes I'll pop back. Right, so now it says it's ready to install, so let's choose install. Right, just an update. It's up to 12% now, seems to be going okay. This machine does have dual core i5 in it at 3.4, I think. So it's getting through it pretty quickly. Yeah, I'll let it do the rest of the installation. Okay, so it managed to get through the installation of Windows 11 and is now at the beginning. So let's work our way through this, and I will show you what Windows 11 does. So we don't want to add a second keyboard, we want to skip that. So this is the bit where it forces you to connect to the internet, which is really quite annoying. So Shift F10 brings up a command line, and in here we need to type in ubi / bypass NRO. Sorry, let me click in it. So ubi bypass NRO, and it will restart, and it will then give you the option like Windows 10 used to, that used to say I don't have internet, and it allows you to step forward from there. Right, I apologise in advance as well. My little converter for some reason doesn't seem to recognise when the Dell PC reboots. I think it's my converter issue. But so what I've done is I plugged a monitor into it, let it boot, and then plugged it back into the converter, and as you can see it's here showing itself now. So I'll persevere. If it carries on giving me issues, I'm going to have to plug it into a monitor and show you from there. But now that we've done ubi bypass the NRO, as you can see now, we can click I don't have internet. So we can just enter user, and next, no password. So it's the usual stuff. It wants to track you, keep an eye on everything you're doing, wants to know all your information. Until Linux gets better, this is the only option we have. So just keep going. There is tutorials as well all over YouTube. It does help out with regards to slimming down Windows 11 and stopping, you know, a lot of the nonsense that's been installed into Windows. But we'll go from this just as basic setup. But as you can see, this is now a very old Optiplex 7010. It's had a few minor upgrades, you know, more RAM, SSD put into it. Those are important parts, and the 2GB NVIDIA card, Optiplex NVIDIA card that I've put in it. I think they do a bigger graphics card, but I think the requirements, it does require additional power. And these small units, the power supply doesn't really give out too much, and there's no additional plugs on it. You might be able to put an adapter into it, but like I say, the power supply that sits in here isn't overly strong. I think it's like 350, 400 watts, something like that. So the 2 gig that's in there will sit in there fine. Anything bigger than that, you'll probably need to start changing it around, and it might not even be worth it then. But as we are now, we'll set all this machine up. I might pop a few of my games onto it, just the low end stuff, maybe some 2D stuff. I might see if we can push 3D and see if we can go from there. But as you can see here, Windows 11 is installed. Shift E allows me to explore. So this PC, so we still have our C drive and our storage drive like we did before. One thing I will note, when you go into C, although we chose to remove all the old information, it does still hold an old Windows folder. You can just go ahead and delete that, because it's sometimes quite substantial. There we go, that's freed up a little bit of space. Let's go into System. Nope, not there, over here. So right click and go into System. There we go, so desktop, 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's got our i5 at 3.4, Windows 11 Pro, and let's come out of that and go into Device Manager. And we should see the graphics card and everything else. I would expect Windows 11 to install all the drivers, but as with anything Windows, it's missing a few drivers there, simple serial ports. So that's probably the comms ports on the back. Display adapters, it's not recognise it as an Optiplex, so we'll find the drivers for that and go from there. But there we are. So older machine, upgraded, Windows 10, new RAM. I am going to mess around, like I want to get rid of like Copilot. It's here, look, get rid of that. I want to put that over here, which is in I think it's in customize, personalize, so we can change everything there. I forget where it is. I think it's themes. Windows 11 has moved a hell of a lot around. Oh, there's the desktop icons, you know. So I'll put the computer and network, and I'll get it up and running and looking the same as I like. And then I'll throw a few of my games on here, and then we'll have a little test and see how we go. I've had to use a monitor because my HDMI to USB converter for some reason has decided to die. So as you can see, there's a monitor base here, and I put a scratch across there, lovely. So I'm just going to power it up now with the monitor on. I'm just going to use the camera. So this is an i5 machine at 3.4, like you've seen. Now we've got 16 gig of RAM in there. We've got the Quadro card, the 2 gig card in there. We've managed to put Windows 10 on and then install it up to Windows 11 using Flyby11. I don't know why the background looks yellow like that. Maybe I can fill more screen by doing that. There we go. So yeah, so obviously here's the machine, and I've done the updates, and then obviously a few bits and pieces, and I've put a few games on. So I just wanted to show you again, like the system. I think if I do this again with another machine, it's probably advisable not to use the hard drive. It's probably best to just get hold of maybe a 2 terabyte solid state drive, and that would speed things up a little bit with regards to like the games that I've put on here, because over here is that 1 terabyte drive. Obviously here is the solid state drive, but if we pop into here, the games have installed. I've installed the games on these folders. So what I wanted to try was a racing game, a fighting game, and a 2.5D platformer type game. If anybody's wondering, this little app that I've put into here is called Rocket Dock. It's been around for a hell of a long time. I think back from the Windows XP days. I just love it. It's I don't like having my desktop cluttered with loads of stuff. You can put partitions in, as you can see here. I think it's freeware. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is. It's freeware. It's been around for absolutely ages. But yeah, I just love using it. It's convenient. Right, so what we'll do, we'll go to Ori first. Give it a little go. We'll plug in a Xbox controller as well. So there you go, she's lit up. There's Ori loading. Took a few minutes to load Ori there. I'm not too sure why. It's not really a massive game. I'm not too sure why it takes a while to load. Possibly it's the hard drive that's causing those issues. Oh, quick access. Continue. So I have gone through the intro and everything just so you don't have to, but as you can see, this small i5, which was going to get chucked away, with a little bit of extra RAM, small graphics card, is able to play this absolutely fantastic and beautiful looking game. It's like watching an art book, this game. I probably will have to stream this one. Is that a monster there? Yeah, so there we go. So that's running nice. We'll exit out of that. Don't want to run too many. So there's a decent platformer. I'm just going to put my hand around the back here. See how warm it's getting. Yeah, it's okay. There is warmth coming out the back, obviously, of the graphics card. As to be expected. This little machine pushing this power. I did try a newer game from 2025. It was Tekken, but yeah, it didn't. It ran it, but it was probably about 10 to 15 frames per second, and I couldn't lower any settings in any way. Oh, by the way, also, I am making this run in 1920 by 1080, so it's you know, it's a good resolution. If I was going to get any issues, I probably would have lowered the resolution, but as it is, I just wanted to see what it comes out with. I turned down the music just a little bit as well, so don't need to log on. Turn the game. So it's in a Parallel City. I have already chosen this. Oh no, what's this? I wanted a car, not a bike. Let's do it anyway, I guess. It's making me do this. Alright, Paradise Cars. So here's your default car. As you can see, I've already cleaned it up. And yeah, although this is not a new game by any standards, this is still a wonderful looking game. And still holds up today. There's the boost. Yeah. So as you can see, she's still running lovely. Got to remember how to get out of the game. There it is, save and quit. So there we are. So a platformer, a little racing game, and I will show you Street Fighter 5 just to end the video, just because it's one of those quite nice fighters. It's not really high poly, but it looks nice. I expect this machine could probably run, well, I could almost guarantee it's going to run the likes of Roblox and Minecraft and, you know, Terraria and your smaller little games. So the younger kids, for hardly any money, can literally get a nice PC so they can do their schoolwork on, and they can web browse and do everything else that everybody in the modern age needs to do and learn on it. And they can also have a few games if they wanted. So the hard drive is chatting away. Let's just continue offline. You are not little Sarah, you blah blah blah. Okay. Don't know what. Not played this game for a long time. Why does Ken look like a little girl? There you go. There's Balrog there. No. There he is. Ah. How dare you challenge the king? So again, this is a 1920 by 1080. There's not much upscaling going on. Birdie. And there it is. Little business machine. Yeah. Tiger knee. There you go. Right. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope this helped some people out with regards to upgrading old hardware. You know, with the new operating system. Okay. Cheers everybody.